AITA for doing nothing for the child my ex-wife had from her affair, even now that I have primary custody of our kids? So yeah, 6 years ago, I found out my wife was cheating. Not even some anonymous one-night stand kind of thing either. Nah, full-blown affair. Dude had been in our house. Like, slept in my goddamn bed while I was working late shifts at Costco and running errands for her. I swear to God, the rage that hit me when I pieced everything together made me feel like I was gonna black out. Like, physically hot in the face. I wasn't even suspicious at first. We had 3 kids, I was always busy, she was always tired, nothing seemed too off. But then one night I got a notification on our shared iPad that she left at home. She forgot to sign out of Instagram. DMs. That's how it started. I know I said no tech-based drama, but this wasn't even sneaky. She was careless. She had videos. Fucking videos. Like she was proud of it. And yeah, he was some trainer from the local 24-hour fitness. I remember because I once joked he looked like a knockoff Mark Wahlberg. Joke's on me, apparently. Anyway, I confronted her. She didn't even deny it. Just started crying and saying she didn't know how to end it. And I'm just standing there, hands shaking, looking at the same woman I spent 10 years with. Thinking about all the Amazon Prime orders I picked up for her, the Starbucks runs, the times I defended her when my mom said she was cold and distant with the kids. I felt like I didn't even know her anymore. That night I packed a bag and crashed at a Holiday Inn off I-95. Real classy, I know. Told her I'd be filing for divorce, and I did. 2 weeks later she drops the "I'm pregnant" bomb on me. But not in a "maybe it's yours" kind of way. No, she knew it wasn't. DNA test just confirmed what we both already knew, and I asked for my name to be removed from the birth certificate. The guy, her affair partner, was all in at first and put his name down. They were a couple by then. Posting cringy little family photos on Facebook, I blocked them both. Didn't want to see any of it. I was still figuring out how to help my actual kids understand what the hell just happened to their lives. We eventually agreed on 50-50 custody for our 3, but it was rocky. She didn't want to do therapy for the kids at first, said it would make things feel worse. I had to fight her on it. Legit court threats and all. Finally got them in and they were not doing okay. My oldest, who was 11 at the time, said she didn't even want to look at her mom, said she was gross. Middle one asked me why mommy had a new baby with a guy she barely knew. That one broke me. I kept telling them they didn't need to pick sides. I never badmouthed their mom in front of them, no matter how much I wanted to. But the damage was already done. They were cold with her. The new baby? Yeah, they acted like it didn't exist. And she noticed. She texted me saying I needed to talk to them, that I was allowing them to isolate their sibling. I reminded her that I wasn't the one who blew up our family. Thing is, the affair dude pieced out 3 years ago. Just straight up dipped. Apparently he got overwhelmed being a dad. Go figure. So now it's just her and this kid, who's now 5, I think. And she's spiraling. She's tried over and over to get me involved. Says I'm already doing everything for our kids. Why not just treat her youngest like an extra? Every time she brings it up, I tell her no. Every damn time. Through the parenting app, because I don't respond to her texts anymore. She even tried to say she'd let me adopt the kid if I wanted to, like that was some kind of prize. Last year, everything went completely off the rails for her. Lost her job at CVS, got kicked out of her apartment after not paying rent for months, no savings. The SUV her parents helped her lease got repossessed, and suddenly I got a flood of new messages on the app. She started saying I needed to step up because the kids need consistency. Tried to argue I was being negligent by not caring whether her youngest had food or a bed or gifts at Christmas. I responded where I legally had to and ignored everything else. My lawyer said to just keep everything documented. She even tried to go back to court and take full custody of the kids, said I was creating a toxic environment by excluding their sibling. The judge shut that down so fast it was kind of beautiful. Said I had zero legal responsibility to a child that wasn't mine, and she should be glad I was as involved with our kids as I was. That was the moment I got primary custody. I won't lie, I teared up. Not because I was happy to win, but because I was so fucking tired. So tired of pretending everything was okay. So tired of having to clean up her messes. And now here I am, still ignoring her request to get involved with this child who is, honestly, just a living reminder of how bad everything got. I've never once badmouthed the kid. I've never said anything cruel, I just don't include them. I don't buy them gifts. I don't invite them to birthday parties. I don't ask my kids to include them, and they never want to. But now the messages from her are getting meaner. She's saying I'm heartless, that I pretend to be this doting dad, but I'm ignoring a 5-year-old who just wants to be seen. And I don't know what the fuck to do with that. I feel nothing for that kid. Not hate, not love, just nothing. But sometimes I wonder, is that even worse? Alright, so here's where things started spiraling into full-blown chaos. We had been doing this custody schedule for almost a year now, me with primary, her with every other weekend. The kids hated going to her place. I mean, hated it. My middle daughter, Ava, started faking stomach aches every other Friday just so she wouldn't have to go. My son, Jake, would straight up cry in the car, and not even like little kid cry, like silent tears looking out the window, refusing to speak. I tried to be neutral, tell them they needed to spend time with their mom. She's still your parent, I'd say. I mean, I wanted to be the bigger person, but every time they came back, they'd be a little quieter, a little angrier. They'd tell me stuff like, Mom keeps making us eat with him, meaning her youngest, and how she always says shit like, he's your blood too, even though he's not. Then came the birthday incident. That's what I call it in my head because holy hell, that weekend was insane. My youngest daughter, Lila, was turning 8. She'd been planning her birthday party for a month. Said she wanted to have it at Chuck E. Cheese like a classic, with those trashy pizza slices and the rigged claw machines. I dropped $200 on decorations, goodie bags, a custom cake with those edible photo things, her face plastered on a princess riding a unicorn per her request. It was ridiculous and adorable. We did it on a Saturday. Her actual birthday fell on the weekend her mom had them. I reached out a month ahead to switch the dates. She refused. Said it was her turn and I couldn't buy the kids love with junk food and cheap arcade tokens. Fine. We did the party early, on my weekend. The kids had a blast. Lila wore a tiara the whole time and left with sticky hands and 200 tickets she tried to trade for a 99-cent rubber ring. Great day. Then came the Sunday drop-off. I pull up to my ex's new place, which is this cramped apartment she shares with her cousin. Cousin smokes inside. Whole place smells like Newports and old microwave popcorn. My kids already look miserable getting out of the car. Then she comes out and says, loud enough for all the neighbors to hear, "You couldn't even send a cupcake for your daughter's brother?" I just stood there like, what? She's referring to her affair baby again. Apparently he cried when the kids came back talking about the party and he wasn't included. I said, he's not my responsibility, you know that. She goes, you're teaching your kids to be cruel. You're showing them how to abandon family. I didn't say anything else. Just got in my car and left. Later that night, I got a wall of text through the parenting app. She accused me of emotional abuse, of turning the kids against her and against an innocent child. Said she prayed I'd grow a conscience. So here's where it got ugly. The next weekend the kids were with her, I got a call from my daughter using her mom's old iPad that still worked with Wi-Fi. She called me crying, like hysterical. She told me her mom yelled at her for not sharing her toy with her little brother. I said, okay, but what happened? Apparently, Lila had been saving up her allowance to buy this squishy plushie from Target. One of those dumb limited edition ones they only stock like twice a year. She finally got it, brought it to her mom's. The baby got a hold of it and ripped the damn thing open. Lila lost her mind. And instead of comforting her, my ex blamed her, said it was just a toy, and that real siblings share. Jake told me she even threatened to throw away all their stuff if they didn't start being better siblings. At this point, I snapped. I told my lawyer everything. Asked if this counted as anything I could act on. He said, technically, no, but keep documenting. So I did. Every time she guilt-tripped the kids, every time she messaged me some borderline threatening nonsense, every time the kids came home with horror stories, I screenshotted everything. I bought a little notepad and jotted things down old school. Dates, times, reactions, and then the most insane shit happened. One Monday, Jake comes back home early. Only him, no sisters. My ex's cousin dropped him off at my place while I was at work and left him outside the house, just sitting on the porch with his backpack and a note shoved in his jacket pocket. The note? Written in pen on some old CVS receipt. Jake doesn't want to be here anymore. I can't handle him either. He's not my problem this week. M. I thought it was a joke at first. I texted her. No answer. I called. Voicemail. I drove straight over to the apartment and no one opened the door. I could hear the TV blaring. I could hear the baby crying. I knocked again. Nothing. When she finally responded the next day through the app, all she said was, I needed a break. That was the moment I stopped giving a shit about being neutral. I called Child Protective Services. I didn't care if it made things worse. My kid was abandoned like a stray cat on my front steps. CPS did a wellness check. She lied, of course. Said Jake stormed off after a fight and her cousin panicked. Nothing came of it because apparently unless the kid's bleeding or missing, no one acts fast. But now the courts were looking closer. And so was I. And all the while, she's still blowing up the app asking me to take her youngest to Disneyland the next time I go with our kids. Disneyland. I was just trying to keep my kids from falling apart and she wanted me to buy her affair baby a Mickey Mouse hat. Okay, buckle the hell up for this one. So after the porch drop incident with Jake and the CPS report, stuff didn't just calm down, it exploded. I didn't even get a full week before the next round of hell started. Lila started wetting the bed. This kid hadn't had an accident since she was like 4. But now suddenly, I'm changing sheets at 3 a.m. and she's crying into my hoodie, saying she doesn't want to go back to the house with the yelling. Ava got super withdrawn too. Not dramatic like Lila, but just quiet. Didn't want to talk. Barely ate. I'd offer her Chick-fil-A and she'd just shrug. That girl never turns down Chick-fil-A. So I called my lawyer again. Told him everything. Showed him my little notepad log, the iPad screenshots, all the passive-aggressive crap from the parenting app. He goes, all right, this might be enough. Let's take her back to court. We filed to restrict her visitation. Not take it away, just supervised for a while until she gets her shit together. But the second she got wind of it, it was like I unleashed some kind of demon. She showed up at the next drop-off looking half unhinged. Greasy hair, eyes wide, holding the baby on her hip like a human shield. You're seriously doing this? She said. Over a fucking toy and a bad weekend? I didn't say anything, just opened the door, let the kids out, and said, we'll let the judge decide. So fast forward to court. And this is where it turned next level. We get there. She's wearing this beige H&M pantsuit like she's about to present a PowerPoint on corporate synergy. I'm in a Levi's button-down and khakis because, I'm a dad and not trying to cosplay a lawyer. We both sit down. Judge comes in. Usual stuff at first. My lawyer lays everything out. CPS report, abandonment, screenshots of her guilt-tripping the kids, and the message about Disneyland that made the judge raise his eyebrows and go, is this child related to Mr. No, Your Honor, I said. That's her child from a different father. Judge turns to her and goes, so why would you ask him to bring your youngest to Disneyland? And I swear, she says, without even flinching, because it's not fair that one child gets treated like a prince while the other lives like a stray dog. Everyone in that courtroom went dead silent. Even the court clerk stopped typing. Then, here's the part I'll never forget as long as I live. Lila, my sweet, emotional 8-year-old daughter, stood up in her little seat, pointed at her mom, and shouted, he's not our brother! He's just your mistake! Whole fucking room froze. The judge looked horrified. My lawyer leaned over and whispered, do not react. Let this play out. My ex started crying immediately, like full soap opera tears. She yelled at me, said I coached them to hate her, said I turned her kids into little monsters. But here's the thing, Lila meant it. That wasn't acting. That wasn't drama. That was a little girl who had finally hit her wall. The judge ordered a break, took the kids out with a court-appointed advocate, said they'd be interviewed privately before any ruling was made. While that happened, me and my ex sat on opposite ends of the courtroom in silence. The air was thick, like you could feel the tension. When we reconvened, the judge laid it all out. He said her behavior was increasingly concerning, that she had blurred boundaries between co-parenting and emotional enmeshment, and that she was using her children as pawns in an attempt to compensate for a separate relationship that failed. Then came the ruling, supervised visitation for 6 months. She'd get to see the kids every other weekend, but only at a designated center with a parenting supervisor present, 0 unsupervised time. And just like that, she lost it. She stood up screaming, this is your fault! You poisoned them! She looked straight at me and shrieked, you think you're so perfect, but you're heartless. You're punishing an innocent child. Judge banged his gavel. Bailiff had to escort her out. I swear, she shouted, you'll regret this, as the doors closed behind her. I sat there, heart racing, not even knowing how to feel. Part of me felt justified, like maybe I'd finally protected my kids the way they deserved. But part of me, I don't know, man. I just kept thinking about that kid, the one who got called a mistake by his half-sister in a room full of strangers. He didn't ask for any of this. And maybe that's why it fucks with me so much. Because I don't care about him. I don't feel responsible. But I do feel something. Is it guilt? Pity? Just human discomfort? I have no idea. I took the kids to Dairy Queen after court. Ava didn't say much. Jake just kept saying, I'm glad it's over. And Lila, she cried into her cone. Said she didn't mean to yell like that. Said she just couldn't keep it in anymore. I told her she didn't do anything wrong. That I was proud of her for speaking her mind. But damn if it didn't leave a mark. And now, my ex sends cold one-sentence messages through the app. No more hope you're well or thanks for the update. Just stuff like picking up Sat 10 a.m. But she still brings up the youngest. Says he's asking about the kids, wants to know why he never gets to come with. Says he misses them. Says he's lonely. And I don't know what the hell to do with that. Right. So after that courtroom explosion, things were tense but quiet. Like the calm after a bomb's gone off and everyone's still checking to see if they've got all their limbs. My ex was on supervised visits now, and I finally felt like my kids had a shot at some peace. They were doing better. Lila stopped wetting the bed. Ava was slowly starting to act like a human again, laughing at Jake's dumb Fortnite dances, asking to go to Starbucks after school. It wasn't perfect, but it was healing. Then, about 3 months into the supervised visitation setup, Ava dropped a bomb of her own. We were eating dinner, Taco Bell night, which is basically just me over-ordering and the kids trying to trade Doritos Locos Tacos like Pokemon cards. And Ava just looks up and goes, "Dad, do you think he's gonna hate us when he's older?" I put down my Crunchwrap and asked, "Who?" She didn't even blink. "Mom's kid, the little one. What if he hates us for ignoring him?" That hit me in the fucking chest. I looked at her. She wasn't being sarcastic. She wasn't trying to start drama. She was honestly asking. Lila chimed in and said, "He tried to give me his toy last time, a dinosaur. He said I could keep it." Then Jake mumbled, "He's just always there, just watching, not talking much." I just sat there, silent, no idea what to say. What do you even say to that? "Sorry, sweetie, but your half-brother is a living monument to your mom's betrayal and I'd rather not look at him too long." Like what the actual fuck? So I did what any confused, mildly decent dad would do. I stalled, told them we'd talk about it soon. That night, I sat in my garage with a Miller Lite and stared at the water heater for 2 hours like it was gonna give me life advice. And here's what I realized. That kid, he's not my problem. Legally, emotionally, in any fucking way. But he's gonna grow up seeing my kids get gifts and go on vacations and post family photos on Instagram. And he's gonna know he's not part of it. He's gonna look at them and wonder what he did wrong. And even if I don't owe him anything, they're the ones who will carry that weight someday. So I did something I never thought I would. I reached out, I sent her a message through the app. Short, simple. "Next time you have visitation, if your youngest wants to come along for an hour, I'm okay with that. Only for one visit, just to see how it goes." It took her less than 5 minutes to reply. "Are you serious? Yes, oh my God, yes, thank you." The next supervised visit, the parenting center arranged it. They said it'd be low structure. Just a casual hour where the youngest could sit in and interact naturally. They had games and coloring books. We agreed I'd be there too, just in the background. I walked into that building fully expecting to regret it. But what happened was confusing. The kid was shy, curled up in a Spider-Man hoodie, holding a beat-up Hot Wheels car. Didn't say much, but he smiled when Lila offered him a sticker from her sheet. He sat next to Jake and copied everything he did. And when Ava showed him how to stack the Jenga blocks just right, he looked at her like she was a goddamn wizard. No crying, no chaos, just awkward kindness. At one point, he walked over to me, held up his toy car, and said, "I like blue." I just nodded. "Cool car." That was it. The hour passed like nothing. But something shifted. The kids didn't ask to bring him back next time, but they didn't act like he was radioactive either. They just saw him. On the ride home, Ava looked out the window and said, "He's not bad, just kinda sad." And yeah, that fucked me up. I didn't offer to do more. I didn't open my wallet or my heart or anything dramatic like that. But I told my ex I'd allow occasional inclusion. Not all the time, not birthdays, but small, low-stakes stuff if the kids were open to it. I made it clear, this is not co-parenting. This is just trying to stop another kid from growing up thinking the world forgot him. She thanked me, then said she still hoped I'd adopt him someday. I didn't respond. Because nah, that's not happening. I'm not a saint. I'm not his dad. I'm just a guy who got blown to hell by someone else's choices and is barely stitching things back together for his own damn kids. But yeah, maybe I'm less cold than I thought. So here it is, the end of it, or at least as much of an end as you can get when there's kids involved and people who can't stop fucking things up. After that supervised visit where I let the youngest come along, I stuck to my word. I didn't go full savior mode. I didn't buy him toys or take him out for Happy Meals. But once in a while, if we were doing something like going to the park or grabbing snacks from Walmart and he was already with my ex during her visitation hour, I'd let him tag along. Neutral ground. No drama. It was manageable. The kid was quiet. Like, eerily quiet. Always watching, never pushing. Lila actually let him play Uno with her and Jake once. And Ava didn't say much, but she didn't protest. Small wins. But then it all turned again. Because of one fucking trip. See, I had this mini vacation planned. Long weekend at a cabin near Lake Tahoe. Just me and the kids. I had it all booked. S'mores, hiking, even rented a canoe. The kids were pumped. They'd been talking about it for weeks. 2 days before we left, my ex messages me on the parenting app. Says she got laid off again, this time from her temp job at a Verizon store. Said money was beyond tight. Rent late, electricity on the edge. The usual storm. But then she dropped the line that made my blood pressure hit new heights. "Can you please take her youngest with you on your trip? I know you don't have to, but he's never been outside this city. He thinks going to Target is an adventure. Please." I didn't respond at first. I actually threw my phone across the fucking kitchen. I stared at it sitting face down next to a box of Cheerios like it had insulted my whole bloodline. And I was gonna say no. I wanted to say no. But then Ava comes up to me out of nowhere and says, "He probably doesn't even know what a lake looks like." And that was it. I was fucked, so I said yes, with conditions. He comes only if the kids are okay with it. He sleeps in his own bed. I don't do diapers, midnight wake-ups, or play pretend daddy. And I made her sign paperwork saying she wasn't offloading custody or trying to claim any legal involvement. She agreed in 5 seconds flat. So he came. We did the trip. And honestly, he had fun. Simple fun. Threw rocks into the water for like 2 hours straight. Asked me how clouds worked. Called the canoe a pirate boat. He didn't whine, didn't cry, didn't even ask for anything except to sit near Jake at dinner. And when we got back, I didn't feel like a hero. I just felt tired. Like I'd crossed this invisible line between protecting my own and carrying someone else's weight. But then the real twist happened. 2 weeks later, I got served. My ex was filing a petition. Again. This time to modify the custody agreement based on established emotional bonds between her youngest child and me. She was trying to use the trip she begged me to take him on, as proof that I had assumed a fatherly role and should be held partially financially responsible for him. I was stunned. Like couldn't fucking breathe, stunned. After everything, after I bent further than I ever planned to, just to give that kid a tiny piece of something normal, she turned around and tried to use it as ammo. My lawyer lost it, said it wouldn't hold, and it didn't. The judge threw it out instantly, said a vacation wasn't parental assumption of duty, and she was manipulating the situation to her advantage. But you know what? It didn't matter, because the damage was done. I told her no more. That was it. No more extra visits, no more tagging along, no more favors. She burned the last bridge. The kids didn't even ask why. They knew. I still see him sometimes. At the visitation center, sitting in a little corner while my kids play. He watches them like he wants to ask, "What did I do wrong?" But he never says it. Last week, Lila came home and said, he asked if he could come live with us. I just said, "That's not something we can do." She didn't argue, just nodded and went to her room. And that's where I'm at. I'm not legally his dad. I never will be. I never wanted to be. And honestly, after what she pulled, I never want to see her again outside of a court bench. But that kid, he'll grow up. He'll figure it out. Maybe he'll hate me. Maybe he won't remember me at all. And I'll always have to wonder, did I make the right call pulling back? Or did I just make sure another innocent kid gets left in the wreckage of someone else's choices? I did what I had to do. I protected my kids. I didn't sign up for more. I never asked for this life. But somehow I still feel like the asshole. So Reddit, you tell me, AITA for refusing to be a father figure to a kid I never wanted, even after I let him in for a little while? Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, hit subscribe. See you in the next one.